Hello friends, today I would like to share a critical position from a famous game where instructive action will take place. It's black to play, but before I guide you through the position, I would like you to pause the video and think on your own. What would you play here if you were given the black pieces? So to most people, this position looks very scary. White has the so-called mobile center. These pawns take over the territory from centralized squares in opponent's camp, and thus automatically we would call this space advantage for the white pieces, as some of the black pieces are definitely restricted by this mobile center. They cannot enjoy the fantastic squares in the middle, whereas white has, for example, these 4 squares or 5 squares that they could use to put their minor pieces on. However, we have to know the main strategy or strategies when we're playing against the mobile center. Usually we restrain ourselves from activity on the flanks, and our main objective is an attempt to destroy it, undermine it, or if white overextends himself, block those pawns with our pieces. The players that played the game were Rubinstein with white and Mr. Grunfeld with the black pieces, and he showed us the way how we can destroy this mobile center. So the move that black needs to play is f5. Here white has a couple of options, and we will take a look at some of them. So first of all, what happens if they actually do accept the pawn sacrifice? For example, they could be taking on f5. We would take back. Now they take, for example, here, and here black simply goes knight c7. They're ready to win the pawn back on f5, and our other knight will simply go to the square d5. So for example, for now they could be maybe attempting to defend this pawn, but I'm not worried about winning it back. For example, I could play knight d5, then this pawn on f5 can be attacked multiple times, and I don't think that this pawn is going to get away from us. Now imagine that once we win the pawn back, here this is already not mobile center, because mobile center has this trait as 2 connected pawns have potential to move forward, and here f4 and d4 pawns are dissipated, they're isolated, and we consider them weak. This position is already at the very least equal. Now there are some alternatives. White could also attempt to push, for example, e5. Now, in this position, we could be taking on g4, and then once again play knight to c7, after which we will achieve a blockade of the mobile center. And while we're achieving this blockade, our pieces will enjoy those wonderful squares in the center of the board. d5, e6 are in the center. If we draw the circle or a square around the middle, I believe this would be f6 to f3 squares, to c3, to c6, and then back to f6. Another alternative that white could attempt is, of course, to just ignore it and play bishop g2. That's what Rubinstein tried in the game. Here, black plays knight c7, and at any moment we will be taking the pawn and leaving white with the isolated pawn. In the game, we saw bishop f3, then takes happen, and after knight d5, black is completely equal. White's mobile center is not there anymore, this pawn is isolated, we have achieved successful blockade, and thus black has a good game, or at the very least equalized in the position. So don't get discouraged when you're seeing these powerful pawns in the center. We call this mobile center, and there are certain strategies that we use to play against it, destroy it, undermine it, block it, and then we take away the advantage out of it. Don't fall into this optical illusion that such a center is always good. Thank you for watching. If you would like to hire me as your personal online chess coach, my contacts are on the right. That's my full-time job for almost a decade. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.